Welcome to TruckYoo podcast. My name is Sebastian. Today's guest is a YouTuber, owner, operator that goes by name Kameran. Cam runs a YouTube channel called Trucking4racecars. He's been successful owner operator for the last 7 years. We dug into a lot of good stuff, so stay tuned. Let's get right into it. Cam, thank you for taking your time. I appreciate you hopping on the call and doing this with me. I know we've been chatting back and forth. I'm glad you're here. Can you just introduce yourself real quick to everybody?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here as well, man. It's exciting, something new for me. But quick introduction. My name is Cameron. I run the YouTube channel Trucking for Race Cars, and just a simple guy, man.
I wouldn't say simple. I would say successful owner operator. You've been trucking for how many years? You said
Trucking for 9 and owner operator for 7.
so. You were a truck driver for 2 years before you decided to buy a truck. Why 2 years?
I don't know why the 2 years just went like that, but it went really quick. I don't know. I was a company driver and I had great connections and just I don't know, like the also the knowledge I was getting was like really good. And I think the guy that helped me get into an owner operating position, he just saw the knowledge I was getting and he took advantage of that and put me on board. So there is someone else in the background that did help me out, tremendously. So
There's always somebody in the background. Always, it's everybody's asking me like, "Oh, I can do my like." I don't think there's any business that you can do by yourself.
no.
There's always somebody, right?
Right.
Great. So the 2 years you drove for somebody, and then when you decided, "Hey, I want to be an owner operator," did you already have an idea and like, did you plot it in your head, like how are you gonna do it and what are you gonna do?
Not at all. I'm first generation truck driver. My grandpa did a little bit of hot shot stuff, so like he didn't never really get behind a big rig. So I never had like an ambition to be an owner op really. Like I just wanted to truck. Like I wanted to drive a truck and I just liked, everything behind that. I didn't have a strategic plan or anything like that. I did know there was a turning point when I was in my second company. I was in a flatbedding company called MG Transport in Portland. And there was like a turning point where I was like, man, I'm working a lot of hours. I'm working really hard. I'm learning a lot. The job is becoming easier. I want a little bit more of the pie. And I want it like I have pictures of me like on my birthday making sure my truck was clean for Monday. And it was a company truck and I made sure that thing was always clean. I would help out on the maintenance. I just went the extra mile and like I was like I should be doing this for myself. And I don't know how much more you want me to kind of elaborate on that little transition period, but I will say that is an important period of my life, but I don't know, you tell me.
You can elaborate as much as you want. What I hear is you had this inner voice telling you that you should get more out of this industry, right? Like it was you're preaching to the choir because I literally went through the same thing, and I like that you're saying that, and I think it's for everybody that learns the ropes. What I like about it that you did 2 years of experience, so that's I usually recommend 2 years of experience. I drove for a couple of years too before I jumped in, but I think you did it. I don't know if there's one path. There's multiple ways to skin the cat, but I think the 2 years is a pretty safe thing. But I like it. I mean, you're into cars, and I was into cars, and I'm like, hey, if I want to have a career, I would rather have a career with semi trucks. When I was 27 or 28 when I got my CDL. So I totally understand what you're saying, and if there's anything more that you remember about that point where you were like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Do you remember that moment when you were like, all right, I'm going to pull the trigger, I'm going to do something?
Yeah. I remember like I even remember the place. Like we were in some muddy yard. We were delivering we're picking up man, what were those things? They were like cranes sit on them in the water. Um they put them in the water and it's like a platform for cranes to sit on.
Mhm.
I forget what they're called. I'll probably it'll probably come to me in a second. We're in this really like muddy yard, and I was still company driver, and my other driver, um, he was hauling like an 80-foot long pole, like two of them, and it was just the most gnarliest load I saw. Like the front of the load wasn't even like so. Here's your flatbed, and this thing was like the whole front was like barely even on the trailer, like it was just the sketchiest looking load ever on a 53-foot flatbed. And you got 80-foot long poles, which that's not a big deal, but if they're flat, but they were like just so messed up. And I'm like, you know, like we're really working pretty hard for 24 bucks an hour, man. Like we were making like 24 bucks or $22 an hour or whatever it was. And I'm just like, I don't know, I don't know if doing this is gonna pan out. So I will say it was never about the money for me. When I first got into it, um, I was really young, so my expenses were so low that I did take the lower paying job for the better experience. I had friends that could have got me 30 bucks an hour way back then doing like, mixer and bunch of like other stuff, but I chose to stick with flatbedding because I knew I was getting great experience. But I will say the turning point was probably there, and I was just shooting messages back and forth to guys on Instagram and the guys that were in my area, and they know who they are, and I'll send this to them or whatever. There was like maybe 4 or 5 guys where I would just like pick their brain and give them new questions like every other day and tell them what I was thinking and hey, am I off on this? Can you help me navigate the way I'm feeling or whatever? And a lot like I at one point I was like, man, I just need to go buy a $10,000 semi. I thought that's how it worked. You go buy a $10,000 truck and you're making money, dude. Like, and no, that's not. Thank God I didn't try to do anything like that. And anyways, what ended up happening is I seen a guy on a daily basis on a lot of my routes, and I talked to him on the CB, and then I started talking to him on Instagram. And then before you know it, man, I didn't know this, but a year goes by or so, and I didn't know this, but he already had owned a company. He had multiple trucks. And I was out telling him how I was feeling and, letting him know that I really wanted to move on. And one day out of the blue, he's like, how would you like to be owner op? And how would you like to run back and forth to LA from Washington to LA every week? And, that's further than I was like ever doing. But at the time, I was like, oh my God, like everything, this, like, I'm so down, But I was like, give me all the details, tell me how this is going to work out. And I mean, we're here, and so I don't know how much you want to dive into that. I'm rambling a little bit, but
No, yeah, that's perfect. So, and then, well, you're 7 years in business, so that's, that speaks for itself. I mean,
yeah.
you, that is something that is impressive, especially lately with the way the market's being. But I was going to ask you on that: is there anything that you wish you knew before you started? Thinking back right now is like, well, to me, as you think about it, I can tell you like the number one thing was resources, right? I started super early in 2007, 2008, and it was no reason, like YouTube was just starting. So I was like, man, I wish there was like a lot of either YouTube videos or whatever I could find. I would just low quality. Like, was there anything like that for you?
I'll say like I can't really necessarily touch on like um is there anything I would do differently? No. I think that I got extremely lucky. I won't say anything was like handed to me, But I think I got lucky with my mindset of where I was at the time, and being such a young age and not having a lot of expenses, I was able to take the lower paying jobs because I had a vision in my mind of where it would take me. And I do believe in that. And I will say, where you said there weren't a lot of YouTube channels and things like that, man, I would be up till I don't know when, watching like big rig videos and just manifesting that one day I'd have a cool truck. That was, it's just a young way of thinking. Like, I wasn't thinking so much on the business side. Like, I was thinking so much more on like, oh man, it's gonna be so cool to like be on a summer day with a 389 and like just hauling loads. Like, I had that kind of imagination at that time. And so yeah, there really wasn't a lot of YouTube stuff when I originally was, checking it out, to like a step by step, this is what I would do type of thing. But Instagram was so useful at that time because there wasn't like this TikTok like famous thing. It was just like, if you knew the couple people in your area and you could find them, or you could use certain hashtags to find them, and like, like, I don't know how I used to find everybody, but I found everybody in my area. And if you could just get in the DM and just talk to them, and a lot of them were really, really helpful at the time. And a lot of those guys, you could tell their mindset was different from the guys that were in the company I was in, because you got to remember, when you're working for a company, and this is the biggest thing, like, a lot of the guys and a lot of the old timers, yeah, they've been around for a long time, but they also hate their life. They hate that they're having to work for the same wages as you, and you just started. And, a lot of them are really down on trucking, and they'll really unmotivate you, all the way unmotivate you. Like, I remember washing my truck, and they would just give me so much crap about, oh, go wash mine after you're done. Or, I don't know why you're washing that thing. It's just going to rain tomorrow. Like, but that stuff, if you tell that to the younger generation enough, they're going to just not like clean their stuff. They're not going to care anymore. And why would you take that out of somebody? I'm sorry, I'm getting in, but
No,
yeah,
you're hitting,
dude.
you got in onto the same thing I was experiencing, and I'm shaking my head because I can tell you, I had similar experiences starting with big rig videos and watching. I'm like, man, this is so cool. He's doing such a cool. He was super early on YouTube too. I
Yeah,
remember
man.
finding stuff, and then he was showing up amazing things that got, I think, new generations inspired to go into trucking. Look at us, right? We both ended up doing it. But no, I totally agree with you, because the overall narrative in trucking is you run into truckers that are so beat up by the industry and the life of truckers. It's very hard for them to stay positive. And the endless conversations I had with drivers, with owners at my shop that came in, my owner operators, it'll be nonstop this kind of a negative, this dark cloud overhanging. But I think it's more of a state of mind rather than the industry itself, because there's still a ton of positive in the industry. I think, yes, there could be a lot of things that could be fixed and be better, but I think you always got to look at that's life. You always got to look at the bright side, and try to change your mindset. Like, I would, some drivers, my drivers, I never did that, but my drivers, when I hired them, they would all nonstop constantly sit on the phone and talk to other people and just either complain or I never understood that. I was like, I would rather put an audiobook and just cruise down the road for 8 hours. You know what I mean? And that mindset is something that I bring up a lot, and that's exactly what you just said. Is you have to find the brightness in it, and the passion that really drives you to be better and grow and do something better. So you're not rambling, man. You're speaking my language about this, because that's exactly what I felt.
Yeah.
And that's, it's almost endless possibilities, like in any other industry. It's just like, I think the community of truckers lately, and I'm not going to speak that way. I mean, I think we have an amazing opportunity in the US as far as trucking industry. It's massive, and there's going to be bad and good people. All I ever want to do is only bring up the positive and the good people that want to help each other, because just like you, I had the same thing with people around me, and truckers involved around driving trucks, owning trucks. I would always pick somebody's brain every time, and I still do it to this day. You never know what you're going to learn. You can learn from anything, right?
Hmm.
Tell me
100%.
about your operation. So are you leased to
Okay.
somebody
Yes.
or
So Jeff Barnes, he's the owner of JNS Enterprises that everybody knows that I was working for 7 years. He bought me my first truck. The bank knew no one. The bank didn't know who I was at all. I did basically like a lease purchase through him, and we, built a contract, and it said at the end of the lease terms he was going to sell me the truck for $1, and that's I think it in everything that he said in the contract. I mean, it was my truck. It wasn't. He wasn't making a profit. He was getting me in the game, and I can just kind of speak on that for a second. Like, it was just the coolest thing ever, man. Like, we had two options. There was a W900 that was pretty cool, or there was the black 389 that I had got, but supposedly the guy was losing it to the bank, and we had to make a payment within like the first 2 days. And so he made that first payment. Um, I Yeah, man, I got into a brand new 389. It had 50,000 miles on it, and I think we bought it for
wow.
$140,000 back in
Wow.
2020. No. 2019 was the truck, and it was put into service in 2018. That's
Wow.
how
So
they do that.
that is crazy rig for your first rig. That's crazy.
Dude, I was mind blown. I went from company driver to running to Cali, LA to, back to Washington every week in a brand new truck. Um,
That's so that was a 389 you said?
yep.
What
389 had a green frame, and it was a black flat top 63-inch bunk. It was like 276 wheelbase. It was cool, man.
what motor was it? Was it Cummins?
X15.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a good truck. It was like very low maintenance. And then like after running that truck for a year and a half, I want to say no, it was like 2.5 years. I can't remember fully. I ran that truck for a little while, and then I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, "You got to have some equity on that thing or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't want to get rid of this truck." And then he's like, "But what are all the things that you're trying to do to that truck?" And we went down the whole list of them. And he's like, "Why don't you just order a new one? And by this time, you can just go get this truck in your name and build your own credit." And I was like, "All right, that's kind of smart." So then I talked back and forth with Jeff, and he let me sell the truck. Like, he wasn't like, "Oh, well, you got to give me 30 grand or something, or whatever profit. Like, I got to take 10% of whatever you make." Nope, nothing. It was like, "Okay, I'm selling the truck, Jeff." And then I literally sold that truck for 145,000 after running it for like 2.5 years, and I think I walked away with like 65,000 in equity or
That's
something
awesome.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the peak of the market too, right?
Yeah.
Because if you rented for 2.5 years, so 19, so yeah, 21
So
during
then I
COVID,
ordered my
right?
truck, yep, in 21, and I waited. No, it was like we waited for the new year so the truck would be a 22. Like, I sold my truck in like October of 20 or so. I really don't remember all those. That's like a real blur.
That's totally fine. So tell me this. So the second one, what was the second truck?
So the second truck was like everything I could ever ask for in a truck, and it just gets down to the real specifics, like real specific stuff. I ended up selling it, whatever, and then ordered a brand new 389 in my name. Uh, what was it? Okay, so it was 292 wheelbase. It was gray. Flat top is the one that everyone sees on YouTube. So that was a
Beautiful,
22.
beautiful, beautiful truck.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
truck.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Everything on that truck was everything I could ever ask for. Like, I ordered it exactly how I would, like what I wanted at the time. So very specific build, the wheelbase, just the tanks, the everything was very specific. I even hid the def tank, like from the factory. Peterbilt did that. We Jeff had like an idea on how to hide that stuff, and I think it was the most unique way to hide it, and I don't think there is a better way today. Like, I've I don't even think a lot of people even know about that def tank being hidden the way it was, but it was very cool.
That's cool. And what was the transmission? 10-speed manual, 13-speed,
Both trucks were 18 speed.
18-speed. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So are you still holding flatbed then?
Yeah, yep. Still doing flatbed stuff. Man, a lot has happened in the years that I had that truck, and I don't even really think I showed on my YouTube channel the truck leaving, but yeah, it's gone. So
Okay.
a lot
And
happened in this year. So
we're building up to the one that we're going to talk about right now. You just got one new one
yeah,
today.
yeah, yes.
That's awesome,
Today,
man.
yep. So um, we're going old school, man.
What? So tell
I
me.
don't know if
So
you want to
tell
hear
me.
about
Take
it.
it slow. Of
Yeah,
course I do.
yeah.
Take it slow and tell me what did you buy and why did you buy it?
Um, Can I talk about why I had to like get out of my other truck? Because I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, "What the
Yeah.
hell?" You know?
Yeah.
Okay, I reached a point in trucking where I felt like, "Why am I doing this?" It got monotonous, and it got to where I was getting very miserable sitting in the truck every day. And to be in such a cool truck and feel the way I was feeling on a daily basis, it was really drawing me down daily. It sucked. We lost our steel account in December. We were hauling steel consistently every day for the same outfit. We would go to the same place every day, and then we would basically do like LTL stuff where we would like do multi-drop, anywhere from one drop all the way to 9 drops in one day. Like it was, and it was every day, Monday through Friday. The most best like deal ever, and we lost it. I don't really want to get into the specifics because I
Yeah.
really can't tell you. Like, I don't know why it just
It
disappeared.
happens. It happens. Contracts come and go. Customers come and go. I always say every customer has an expiration date. That's not my
Hmm.
saying, but I heard it
Hmm.
and I like it. So
Yes, and I don't think we adapted, and I don't think any of us were ready for it. And I saw a lot of defeat in a lot of our guys' eyes. And thank God, we had other accounts that we could fall back on, but there weren't like that great of accounts to fall back on for everybody. Like, there
yeah,
wasn't enough to be passed around. So a lot of guys that followed along in my on my YouTube channel, I ended up taking the opportunity, instead of sitting around with my head down and like crying about it. I went and I said, "Hey Jeff, like, I'm originally from Chicago. I'm originally from
oh,
Elgin, Illinois, is where
oh,
I
okay.
grew up. So I grew up over there, and all my family is there. I just have my mom and brother here. So I was like, hey, while we're trying to figure out this mess, like, can I hook up to a spread axle and just get lost for a little while? So what I ended up doing is I took off to the Midwest. I hauled a load out there, and I stayed out there for a month. He actually let me find all my loads on my own. I basically used his authority and acted like I was the dispatcher, and we did a little bit better on the percentage. He was only charging me 8%, and basically like a trailer rental, and everything
That's
else
awesome.
was just like whatever, like go learn, go hit your head on the. So I got on to Truck Stop, and I think that's the app for load board stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I got on there, and man, I stayed busy. The first two loads were not that great, and some of the guys that follow me on Instagram saw my first load out there. I hauled a load of crushed cars. It
Oh
was
wow.
it is so bad. I should have never done that. It was like I had this brand new flatbed that had like barely been used, and I got grease on it and oil and glass. Like, I'll never do that again. But I just wanted to get rolling. Like, it was a good rate, and I was like, I just want to get something on the trailer. So yeah.
So tell me more of the story. So you went out to the Midwest, started running around. Which area did you focus on?
I mainly wanted to run like Illinois, Wisconsin, um, Indiana. I wanted to make it home every night. And I found out real quick that like in the Midwest, you can't necessarily make it home every night and stay busy, like at least with on the load board. If you're trying to bank loads and stuff, like I ended up doing a lot of like actually, Don would help me out for like a week or two. I was running a couple loads from Wisconsin over to PA, Lancaster or whatever I think it's called, PA.
Okay.
So I did a couple of those loads, and then I ended up finding a broker that really kept me busy on hauling coils from Indiana to Wisconsin, and it was sweet. Like I didn't have to like look on the load board. They were paying good enough for like a round trip kind of deal, and they actually still kind of contact me, and I'm like, I'm not even there, you know, like. But yeah, like I was already finding my stuff, man. Like I was doing pretty good, and yeah, like I was hauling stuff that like I don't necessarily want to, but I was doing suicide coils, man. Like it's
I
not
know.
good stuff, dude. Like so many people are scared of that stuff, but I was like, dude, I'll do it. Like I've done it before. I'll do it. So
That's great. So tell me after that. So what? How did you end up coming back to where you are in Washington State?
I almost I almost tried to move to the Midwest, but because I'm not like set up there, I don't really have a lot of connections there, which that's not a big deal. I know I would meet people and stuff like that. It's just I'm set up here. Like I already had a place and like my car and like it started drawing on me. Like we already weren't making good money and like I'm just like, dude, if I can like because I'm still paying for this place and I was living with my aunt and my dad over there and between houses. I'm like, what kind of life is this? Like I have to like go back. So I decided to just head back over here and I was going to try to just run the load board, but do it over here. And then it just didn't work that good. Like me and Jeff were kind of butting heads because I thought one way because of my experience and what I felt like the market was at. And he felt another way. And we just started like kind of clashing. And then I just gave up and was like, you just dispatch me then, you know? And then so we did that and we started hauling for like one of our old customers and it just like, you know, we're doing grocery stuff and it's like store to store delivery stuff and like I just don't want to tear my truck up. I hated doing it when we used to do it. Like literally delivering to a New Seasons or a Whole Foods in the city and like my truck is 290-inch wheelbase.
Yeah,
Like
it's too long.
dude, I have an overinflate valve on the rear, so it maxes the airbags out fully. So like at ride height, it looks low, but I get like 5 more inches on the rear, and then obviously the front end was on air, so I could really jack the truck up. But even with that, like I'm almost scraping my tanks. I'm gonna ruin my truck for what? Like I'm just not willing to do that for you know. And that's when I got to a point where I just felt stuck. Like I'll be honest with you guys. I filed an extension for taxes and it, you know, hey, October just, you know, it's, I was like, it's around the corner. There's no way I can pay for my taxes. Like, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to just hang out and just wait, you know? And I'm like, there's not really a great option. So that's why I just said, you know what? Let's just ditch the truck. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't want to sell that truck at all. Um, and I didn't have to. I could have kept on going, but I started getting paycheck to paycheck, and I'm like, this sucks, man. Like, what kind of life is this? So I basically sold it to buy my freedom. That's why. That's how I feel. That's just what it is. Like, I could have kept going. I could have kept paying on it. I literally only owed $28,000 on that truck, and I could have kept going, but I just felt like, why am I gonna wait when I can fix this now? I'm sorry. I
That's
felt like I rambled, but
no, no, no,
you
no.
know.
You don't. No, no. You're giving some nuggets, a lot of good nuggets here, man. This is really good. So, tell me, what did you end up buying then? What do you have?
Oh man. So I had an option between a 2020 389 that was a really cool truck. It was black on black, and it was a 63-inch stand-up bunk, like 290 wheelbase, like really nice, like basically what I had, just different sleeper. But this thing had 3 different oil leaks. It had an in-frame a year ago or 100,000 miles ago, supposedly. Um, it just looked really rough. I knew the guy who originally built the truck and ordered the truck, so I wanted to buy it and like redo it and be like, look at this is your old truck. I'm preserving it, but it just didn't work out. The guy got mad at my offer that I threw him, and he basically told me he's going to keep the truck. So that kind of bummed me out, but I was going to finance that truck. And I had to take a step back and go, man, like the truck payment, I've always done it that way. Like I've always had a truck payment. My first truck was $3,200 a month back in 2018. And the last truck was $2,700 a month, which was a big difference. But like I've always given $30,000+ a year to a truck payment. And I started thinking like, you know what? I need to go buy a truck cash, but it can't be a pile. It has to be something that could go to work today if it has. But my head, like I'm not okay with just running a truck and like being happy with it being like, oh, it's a 379. Like who cares? Just run it, go make money. Or it's a 389. Like who cares? Like I am going to build this truck. So to answer your question,
Yeah, finally, drum roll.
drum roll. It's an '01 379 Peterbilt, and it was a local fleet truck to where I am. Like, there's a little backstory on this truck, or not really on the truck, but the fleet that I got it from.
You said
There is a little.
379?
It's a 379. It's an '01.
So it has a cat in it, huh? Or no?
No, it's got a signature 600.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah, signature 600 Cummins. Um, I haven't seen very many signature 600s out there, so I think it's a really cool truck.
Which brings me to another question. How are you enjoying, which you haven't enjoyed it yet, I guess, but not having emissions?
I think it's gonna be cool. I think like just turning the truck on and just driving it home, like it just feels so different than an emissions truck. Like it just feels like the motor's not struggling to just be on. It's not
Yeah.
struggling to just idle, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm a big proponent of pre-emission trucks. I think diesel engines were ruined because of emissions, which is just making it harder for us to be able to operate. It's a lot more expensive. It nonstop breaks. You buy a new truck, you probably had some experiences. You pull out of the shop with 200,000 mile truck, and all of a sudden you have codes there, and you're derated.
Yep.
And that is something that I build my fleet on pre-emission trucks and on glider kits. So I was hoping you were going to say I got a glider kit, but you did the second best thing, which was pre-emission truck.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a proven blueprint, though.
it
Like,
is
there's a bunch of guys that still run old school iron and they make a living, man. Like, it's not, I feel like people look at old trucks and they're like, how did that truck make it cross state line? Like, it's their systems of trucks are so simple, in my opinion. Like, it like as long as you are taking care of it and like things can be rebuilt. People act like just because of the year it can't be fixed. It can be just as good as the truck that you're the a brand new 25, 26. Like it can be just as good. Like you can redo it. So yeah.
100%. I can tell you, not only you did the right move, I think the understanding of people thinking that way, what you just described, which is, oh, it's an older truck. In tractor, trailer, and semi trucks, it doesn't matter. Every single component on the truck is still being produced to this day, outside of obviously some, if you have a old Cummins engine or like a Sears 60 Detroit, the parts are still being made even by OEMs. There's everything can be bought again. And I always say, like, you have junk trucks and then you have classic trucks. You bought a classic truck that you can restore like a classic car, and you're going to make money with it. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, the right move, because look, a lot of drivers and owners that I know that did the right way in the trucking business, they just bought the wrong truck and they put them out of business. And I I applaud you, man. I think you did the right thing. I can't wait to see it. And
Man,
so
I'm excited, man. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like today's day one with it, and just driving it home, I'm like, I have a title. Like,
Yeah.
this is a title. Like, I don't have to go hit up no bank and sign into my app and give them 3 grand this month. You know, like, I'm so excited. And yeah, man, I'm just like, I don't
I'm
know. I'm
I'm
taking it back.
stoked. When you texted me, I just bought a new truck. I'm like, yes, it's the perfect
I
lineup
totally
with.
forgot about the podcast. I'm like, am I
Yeah,
late? Like, oh
yeah.
man,
No, I know, but
like
it's
no, you're
totally
good.
it's so fine. It's so awesome that you just got it. What I would want you to do is, well, not only I'm going to see it on your channel, hopefully, but in what I would want you to do, like, what is still left to do on that truck? Is there anything that you
Oh
have
God.
to
Listen,
do?
there's
And I
the
know there
whole
probably is, but like, what's like how soon can you put it on the road making money as you're building it and working on it?
it can literally go to work tomorrow. It's
All right,
ready to go
perfect,
tomorrow. Like, it
perfect.
just got a brand new 18 speed in it, brand new clutch, and apparently the motor was in framed 100,000 miles before they parked it. This truck supposedly was parked for 10 years.
Okay,
So it's not like it doesn't look like 15 drivers have been inside of it. The interior is flawless. It is beautiful. I love the dash of this truck. It just looks very clean and simple. It doesn't look like a raggedy old 379. Um, I'm just so excited about this truck. But
man,
basically, I think
I'm excited for you, man. As soon as when you come here to Chicago, I need you to stop by the shop and just say hi.
I might take a load out there, man. I know, maybe, I don't know, maybe not like right away because the weather ain't that good, but the weather's turning right now, but maybe, next year, maybe
In
I'll come
spring.
out for, a
Yeah,
show or something. But
yeah.
I think the plan as of right now, and my mind changes by the hour, but I think what I'm gonna do is, because I didn't even tell you, I have my own authority.
All right, perfect.
So I got my own authority in last year of July of last year, but I never put insurance on it. I've been actually paying for my insurance since July of this year. Or was it August or July? I can't remember. But I've been paying for it even though I don't have a truck. I still been paying to keep it. So my authority is active. But yeah, that's a big surprise that my channel doesn't know. I have my authority now. So it's kind of like I'm excited, man. Like, I don't know, I'm excited about trucking again. But to answer your question though, like, I might put the truck to work for about a month. My paint guy who built my gray truck, he is like, I literally drove the truck straight to him today, and we went around the truck. We wrote a whole list down, and so he can't get the truck in for a couple weeks. So I might make some money with it for about a month, and then I'm gonna tear it all apart. So,
I think it would be smart to run it since it's been sitting for a while, and you're
yep,
gonna find airbags messed up
that's
and a
one
lot of other
thing.
things. Yeah,
That's one thing. They replaced all the airbags, all the cans. They did the wheel seals, belts and hoses. They ran through the truck before they would sell it to me. That's why it wait. That's why it wait. Like, the wait was so long, and it had an ultra shift in it, and they put an 18 speed in it.
oh, it's
So,
amazing that they did that. That's great.
yep,
That's
yes,
great.
sir.
So
Yep.
how did you find it?
Okay, so Joel Olson was a local trucking company to me, and the quick story is, when I was like 21 in driving school, or just getting my CDL, I was like 2021. Um, Me and my mom would pass by, like, we'd go out and, go somewhere, and we'd pass by the shop, or we'd take the long way to pass by their shop. And a lot of the times after hours, we would just sit in the parking lot, and I would just sit there and manifest at all their Peterbilts, because they only had 389s, 379s, W900s. And they would park them like right in front of the fence. And then out in their yard, you could see all of them lined up with all the trailers. And it's all nice stuff. So when you guys see the truck that I bought, this is a truck that they put together for their company guys back then. So you can only imagine how their fleet is maintained now. So I would just sit there and manifest this stuff. And actually, the story is, so the owner, Joel Olson, is the grandpa now, and the son, Darren Olson, I would talk to him back and forth. I remember one day I was getting my truck ready for a show at the paint guy's shop, and I didn't even know who he was by face, but I knew who he was by name, and I told him all these stories, and we talked for like an hour and a half, and then I met his son through Instagram. And actually, I just hit up his son on Instagram and I said, "Hey, man, are you guys got any trucks for sale?" And he said, "We might sell this one. We might sell it." And then it
Wow.
just worked out, man. And it's local. I didn't have to go fly anywhere. So
They didn't even list it, huh? They you just
no,
it's a yeah,
no. And
that's
that's the
amazing.
thing, man. It's like if you see something, you might have to go do some legwork to go get it. And it's not always just, you're not going to be able to sit back on the couch and just scroll Facebook or whatever and just, you know what I mean? Like it might not just pop up like that. You might have to go look around and find something you're looking for.
That's a great purchase, man. I cannot wait to see the videos and pictures you're gonna send me, and obviously you're gonna do on your channel a video about all that, right?
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
so this podcast probably it's gonna go live after that, but I would want you to yeah just like shoot a cool video so I can then use a little bit of that and insert it here so my guys can look at it. That's great, man. I know, I like that feeling. I can feel what you're feeling because I've done it multiple times. It's just such a satisfying feeling to own the title and not worry about the payments. And then you're like, all right, what's next? What's the next move, right? So I think I already know what your next move is going to be, but tell me your next move.
The next move is I'm probably going to try to get a trailer. After I build the truck and it's ready to actually go to work, I'll probably buy a trailer too. But that's kind of it, man. I have some ideas for work. I just don't want to really speak on the work stuff that I'm looking for and you know the people I'm going to get in contact with. But you know, I don't know. My idea is to build it though. Like that's what I'm really excited for. I'm excited to see it go from. It's not ugly to me. It's not ugly, but it isn't. It can't go to a show. You know what I mean? So, but whatever. Like it'll eventually be something really cool.
Where you want it to be. And it's also a journey, right? That's the fun part about it. As you make money with it, you build it out the way you want it, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's part of it. When you arrive, when you had your the gray truck, you've already arrived. And now you're like, all right, I'm here. What else is there? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna restart do another project. That was probably what I would do. I've done that too. I got bored with the trucks I was buying, and then I decided to scale and build a trucking company. Are you thinking about scaling and adding to your fleet, or?
That I always said I will not get my authority unless I had full if unless I was completely serious about like growing. I don't want to get an authority and just be like one guy. Like I think I have enough uh motivation, work ethic, all the, you know, things to scale to, you know, and that's what I'm learning now. And actually this time that I've had off, I haven't worked since the end of July. Um I've been doing 75 hard and I've been really serious about you know, my fitness and my health. And also, man, I've been reading a lot of books. And I've actually never read a book cover to cover prior from 75 hard, man. And like this has unlocked a whole new part of me because the job to me is easy. Like doing flatbedding is easy, trucking is easy. Having a cool truck to me, that's the easy part. But what's very hard for me is doing the boring stuff, such as educating yourself and, you know, learning from other guys that have made mistakes. Like it's hard to like grasp some of that stuff sometimes. And then like the business side, like keeping yourself organized and um, learning how to negotiate certain things that you want. Like that's this new side that I have to learn because the job and everything else, I can do it no problem, man, easy. But it's all that other little stuff that we overlook, the boring stuff, the stuff like sitting in the office for long hours and like how can you do things better? Like that's the stuff I'm trying to learn. And that's the stuff that's more important to me than having a cool truck. But I just know that having that cool truck, I know I've seen it firsthand how much it helps. And I know some people don't have the mindset. They'll say, what's the point of putting all this stuff on a truck? It's just a truck. You're making the same money as this guy over here. But no, 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 no. It's not true. I've seen it so many times where customers, they can't forget you. They want your phone number. There's so much that goes into it. There's so many accounts that have been had because of the truck, the way you carry yourself. There it's an image. That's so important. And I've already got that. It's this other stuff, like being knowledgeable about things that's boring. I'm just gonna say it, it's just boring stuff. But that's the stuff that's important to me right now.
That's
So
great. That's great. I can tell you, I think you're definitely doing the right steps. I'm just surprised you haven't been listening more audiobooks, because that was the only time I went from book to book was when I was driving, because you just
yeah,
listen to
I never
audiobooks a lot.
did it. I could never do it. I would just listen to podcasts and stuff, and like I wouldn't listen to a lot of music, but it was a lot of podcasts, a lot of news and stuff like that. But I could never listen to an audiobook.
Yeah, you're right. It was hard because you would have to be full on drinking Red Bulls, and like not, because it puts you to sleep. I would listen to
Yeah,
a I would listen to a book at like 10 p.m. coming back to Chicago or something, and I'm just like falling asleep because I'm listening to, some boring business book, and it's just like, oh
yeah,
my, it's yeah. So I get that. I do remember thinking, well, I wish the books were a little more, like positive
exciting.
and better,
Yeah,
exciting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But tell me, have you? I want to listen. I want to hear some crazy trucking stories. Do you have any crazy trucking story that happened to you?
Man, the one that like I don't know, it's just I can't even say the main one that I want to say because it's a little bit like I don't know, but there's been a couple things that have happened on the road. One of the scariest things that I'll say is like one day I was coming back from LA and someone was going the wrong way on I-5, like
Oh wow!
straight up going 60 plus 70 miles an hour in the left lane. And I thought they were far enough ahead of me and there were no cars next to me that I was like, there's no way they're not gonna veer off and try to hit me because this looks like somebody like trying to commit suicide or whatever. And I was like, please don't hit my truck. My truck was like almost new, but I'm like, please don't hit me. All I seen is them like go, in my rear view mirror, and like I just didn't see what happened after that. But that was like really scary. There's been a couple like snow stories and stuff like that. Snow is always the one that really gets me, man. I hate the snow. And
Yeah.
over actually, um, when I was out there, oh sorry, when I was out there in the Midwest, I drove through a bunch of snowstorms. It's very different out there, man. Like you can still move around. Over here, it's like you're kind of like chancing it to be out in the snow. Like all the mountain passes and the elevation in the different cities and things like that. It's really dangerous because they don't use salt out here, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Snow is always crazy. I agree. I had some crazy close calls with snow, but that's um just part of the game. And I guess, as long as, yeah, I've seen some crazy accidents. I've seen probably some of the craziest accidents on my dash cams for my drivers, where trucks, not trucks but cars, would be flying in front of my trucks, and the driver calls me like, hey Sebastian, I just saw a guy, and we looked at the camera. It was literally a guy flying from one side of the field to another side of the field just in front of our truck. It was just the craziest thing I've ever seen. But before I let you go, Cam, tell me, what advice would you give to a driver that would want to hop in and become an owner operator? Is there anything that kind of maybe top three bullet points that you would tell to a new guy trying to get into being an owner op?
I would say experience is very important, and I think it's overlooked. Being able to control the truck is big, man. Being able to not tear stuff up on someone else's equipment is big. having a positive mindset like we spoke about earlier and not letting people drag you down is going to make you stand out pretty easily amongst the crowd of truck drivers. So I just think that like having having the experience to, especially talking about being an owner op. I know a lot of people might get on YouTube and act like they can just like be an owner op overnight, but it's just going to mean a little more to you if you just go get the experience, you know, just that's big. Um, I don't know, like the experience, you know, the experience is big. And then
What
I'm
about
trying to think
trucks?
here.
What about trucks?
Trucks
Experience
is
is one.
big. That's a
Trucks,
big one.
right? Understanding trucks. What about what would you say to somebody?
That's a big one. Um, Especially in today's age, it's kind of hard to for somebody like, let's say somebody's in a company job right now and they want to go be an owner op. Like, it's hard to go get financing for a new truck. Like, it's almost impossible. Like, it literally is almost impossible. Um, and then even if you have big money down, like it's still like it's a lot, you know, it's a big deal. So like I don't even really know how guys are getting into trucking right now and get or not getting into trucking, but like getting into being an owner op without like maybe just getting a cash truck, you know, unless you save some money or you could get like some type of a loan to get a truck. But I don't know, maybe you can say something about that or like correct what I'm trying to say. But I think if you're someone trying to get like a newer truck and you're looking at it for reliability, it's kind of hard to get into a truck. It really
It is.
is.
It is, and the biggest thing I can tell you is drivers go and buy trucks within that $30,000 to $60,000 mark, and instead of looking at multiple units and doing the homework and going through the motion of a pre-purchase inspection and making sure that they take it slow, they just pull the trigger and hop in the truck because they want to be an owner operator very quick, and then they find themselves in a position where the truck needs a lot of work. They missed a lot of things that should have been addressed, and it's just creating a headache. And it's almost like you're chained to a concrete block going down the pool. It's dragging you down. You're trying to make ends meet, and I've seen that over and over again in my shop. And that is definitely something that you're right. It's not only you only have to either save enough money to buy yourself a really good truck cash outright, or you can finance it, but you can finance it in a way where you take the time to look for the right unit, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
that is, I think, one of the most important things that I had to learn was how do you pick the right truck for your operation? What do you have to check when you're buying it? Like, what are some of the potential pitfalls that you might come across once you're using the truck? So
Mm-hmm.
all that, the reason, and I'm glad you said that, is in my opinion, is what I do with TruckYoo, and what I do outside of TruckYoo is I want owners to have the resources to be able to do that. My 200 and 300 something videos on TruckYoo is all about that, right? It's all about how to make sure you spot the right truck, do the pre-trip inspection. I talk about all that stuff because I feel like the more you know, the better decision you're going to make, and it's going to help you succeed as an owner op. And
Yeah. You touch on a big one there, the $30,000 to $60,000 range trucks. Like, and also when you go buy one of those, and if it ends up needing things like, dude, like the value drops so much on some of those trucks that like you can't even get your money back, even if you wanted to. And like that's a big that's okay. That's a blueprint that I've always stood by, but I also had help. So I can't really relate to like I know a lot of people can't really relate to where I'm at because someone did help me get into a brand new truck. So, but I always had that mindset of like, can I get my money back out of what I just purchased? So like that's a big one for me, but it's just really tough. Like I said, that like that 30 to 60 thousand dollar mark, and then if it needed something, you know, if it needed a clutch, if it needed this, like then you start little by little that the amount that you put into that truck is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and like you said, it just pulls you down. Um, yeah, and what you're looking at, what you're looking for, like it is a lot, and especially if you just sign here on something, like I wouldn't say rush it, man. Like I would probably say the best thing for you to do is find a company that'll like you can correct me here, but I would rather lease on with someone and maybe someone will sell you the truck, but you're leased on with them to at least get you started. They might have a truck that's already in the fleet that's already pretty good, and then start that way. I don't know what like
So
am I
what?
off on that? You know, like
No, no, you're speaking from experience, and I'll tell you from my experience. What when you started your owner operator journey, from what I understood, you've actually come across a really good owner, somebody that was willing to help you, saw the potential in you. Not majority of companies are not like that. I would tell people stay away from these purchase programs in general. There are some that work, but majority of them don't work, and you just end up getting a truck that you shouldn't be in. It's way too expensive for you. So yes, you're right. If you find the right truck, and it's usually a small trucking company that somebody built from scratch by themselves, that is very good with their drivers, that takes care of their customers, it is possible to do, but it's a lot harder to find because you have to go and work for that company first to then be able to have that relationship to become an owner for them, right?
that's exactly what I think I'm trying to say. I'm looking at it from a smaller owner type of deal. I'm not looking at a place that is their motto of lease purchasing because have seen and I've heard a lot about how bad that stuff is where they'll sell you a new truck for crazy amounts of money per week that you have to pay on this truck and you know you're never going to own that truck and if you do you don't want it because you know what I mean like you're like what it's worth after is ridiculous. But no. I'm not necessarily saying that. And what I'm saying is hard to find. I guess it is hard to find a company that will lease you something like that. But I guess if you found a company that you were a company driver for, it would be nice if they did have a couple owner operators working for them. Maybe you might be able to work a deal out. Like I'm saying, if you don't have anything, you're starting from scratch like I did. I think that's the best blueprint if you worked somewhere and their motto isn't all about how can we get you in this truck as an owner op. You kind of have to finesse them to get you to sell the truck to you.
Great point. Very, very good point. You hit it. I think the number one thing with that, what you just said, I'm not going to repeat it because you're 100% right. But I also want to throw in saving money and building your own capital so you have the flexibility of, okay, do I have to do it right now? Should I pull the trigger? Because as soon as you signed a dotted line for a lease purchase, you really didn't put any capital in, and it's kind of easy. They make it easy, but nothing's easy in trucking, and then you end up with a truck that's creating a lot of the problems for you instead of, hey, I have some 20, 30 grand in my account. I really don't have to do it. I'm just going to take my time and do it the right way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
personal side of finance, like credit score and all that stuff, that's all important.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of drivers don't. I'll take care of it when I make the bigger paychecks as an owner up, and all of a sudden they're like, oh crap, I didn't expect this. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, I mean, there's even been times where like I've had those weeks and those months where you're like, I could have made more as a company driver. Things happen, you know, and yeah, like sometimes you're almost better off as a company driver. You know, another thing, like if you got a place that's health insurance, that's a big thing. You know, when you're an owner op, like you're kind of on your own now. Now you got to deal with taxes. It's a lot more than what people give it credit for. I'm not discouraging anybody to not try because it is good once you get it going, but it isn't as simple as what a lot of people think. And it's not just so cut and dry. There's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. I'll say that.
Great. That's why I have the trucking business group. And for everybody listening on TruckYoo.com, our group is there. I have people there that help each other. And that is something that it's a free group. Anybody can join. And literally what you're talking about, the support of me being there, helping others and other owner operators helping each other. That's what I always wanted for for the trucking industry to have a community where people can come and, hey, I want to be on the path of an owner up, and I want to have somebody, peers, to help me get there. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is exactly because of that. So I appreciate you, because great advice. I think you hit it on the nail. And listen, we can probably talk for hours and hours, but I want to come to a close and tell you, not only, man, what you're doing, your journey, I had a feeling it's going to be interesting, and we didn't know each other before this. We just started talking, and you said, yes, I would love to come out. And I appreciate it, man, because it's sharing your story and what you're doing on YouTube, and sharing your journey is great. I think you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Tell everybody, what's your channel again? Where can they find you on Instagram, or do you have any other accounts that you want them to visit?
It's Trucking for Race Cars on every social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Not very active on TikTok, but mainly on Instagram. If you want to send me a message on Instagram, I'll probably reply. Anywhere else, probably not. So, yeah.
All right. Awesome. Cam, thank you so much. I appreciate you again, and good luck, and keep in touch, and I'll see you on the road.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Check out our free trucking business community at TruckYoo.com.